The station hummed with life. Thousands of beings from across the galaxy moved through its corridors, stood at her post in the communications bay, watching the endless stream of data flowing across her screens. She had been working here for 5 years now, ever since she left Earth to join the Galactic Coalition. Earth, humanity's home world, the planet everyone called a death world. Remembered the first time she heard that term. It was during her training. An instructor, a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms, had explained it carefully. Death worlds were rare. They were planets where everything tried to kill you. The gravity was too strong. The weather was too violent. The animals were too dangerous. Most species could never survive on such places. But humans did. Humans were born there. The other species looked at humans differently because of this. They saw humans as strong, as dangerous, as something to fear. Never felt dangerous. She was just a communications officer. She processed messages and managed data streams. Nothing special. But there was one human name that everyone knew. One name that made even the largest warriors go quiet. Had heard the stories. Everyone had. They said he fought at the Battle of Crimson Nebula. They said he held a doorway alone against an entire enemy unit. They said he walked through fire and pulled dying soldiers from exploding ships. They said he was death itself wearing human skin. Had never met him. She hoped she never would. People like that lived in a different world than people like her. Her screen blinked. An incoming message, personal channel. Frowned. Personal messages were rare out here. She opened it. Her heart stopped. It was from her cousin. Was working on a mining colony at the edge of Coalition space. They talked every few weeks, just quick messages to stay connected. But this message was different. If you get this, I need help. Raiders came. Syndicate. They have us locked in the habitat modules. They want the colony's resource codes. If the Coalition doesn't pay, they said they'll start killing people. Please, I'm scared. The message was 3 hours old. His hands shook. She immediately sent the message to the command deck. They needed to respond. They needed to send help. This was what the Coalition did. They protected their people. An hour passed, then 2. Finally, a response came back. Not from the command deck, from administration. Request. The Syndicate operates in a gray zone of Coalition law. Direct military action would violate treaty agreements with several neutral systems. Diplomatic channels are being explored. Estimated resolution time, 4 to 6 days. 4 to 6 days. Didn't have 4 to 6 days. Read the message again, then again. The words didn't change. The Coalition wasn't coming. They would talk and negotiate and file reports while people died. She stood up from her station. Her supervisor looked over. "Officer, your shift isn't over." "I need to take personal time," said. Her voice sounded strange, distant. "Now we're in the middle of personal emergency, family crisis. I'm invoking Article 12. The supervisor's expression changed. Article 12 allowed for immediate leave in cases of family emergencies. It was rarely used. It couldn't be. Approved. Report back in 48 hours. Left the communications bay. She walked through the station corridors without seeing them. Her mind was racing. The Coalition wouldn't help, but someone had to. She thought about the stories. About the mercenaries who operated in the dark spaces between laws. About the soldiers who fought for money instead of flags. About humans who made the galaxy afraid. She found herself in the lower levels of the station. This was where the unofficial business happened, where traders sold things that weren't quite legal, where information flowed for the right price. Approached a terminal in a dark corner. These terminals weren't monitored. They connected to networks the Coalition pretended didn't exist. She accessed the mercenary boards. There were hundreds of listings. Soldiers for hire, protection services, retrieval specialists. The prices were enormous, more than could ever afford. But she had savings, 5 years of careful living. She had been saving for a ship of her own someday, for independence. None of that mattered now. She posted a request. Mining colony, hostage situation, syndicate, immediate response needed. She listed everything she had saved, every credit. Then she waited. 10 minutes passed, nothing. 20 minutes, still nothing. She started to lose hope. Maybe no one would take the job, maybe it was too dangerous, maybe. A response appeared. Simple, direct, just 3 words and a name. Coordinates received, coming. The signature. Stared at the screen. She read it 5 times to make sure she wasn't imagining it. The name everyone feared. The human everyone spoke about in whispers. He had responded to her. She sent back the colony's location. Added every detail she knew about the layout, the raiders, the situation. Another response came within seconds. Meet me at docking bay 17 in 2 hours. Come alone. His hands were shaking again, but this time it wasn't from fear, it was from something else. Hope, maybe, or determination. She went back to her quarters. She packed a small bag, changed out of her uniform into civilian clothes, checked her account one more time. The credits were ready to transfer. 2 hours later, she stood at docking bay 17. The bay was quiet. Most of the traffic came through the main docks. This was a private bay, used for small ships and discreet arrivals. A ship was docked there, had never seen anything like it. It was smaller than a coalition frigate but looked meaner somehow. The hull was and patched in dozens of places. Burns from weapons fire, impact damage. This ship had seen combat, a lot of it. The airlock opened. A man stepped out. He wasn't what expected. The stories made sound like a giant, a monster, something more than human. But he was just a man, average height, dark hair, wearing practical clothes and a worn jacket. He carried a simple pack over one shoulder. His eyes were the only unusual thing about him. They looked tired, old, like they had seen too much. He walked toward her. His movements were calm, controlled. Every step seemed purposeful. He asked. His voice was quiet, steady. Yes, you're. He nodded once. Tell me about your cousin. Not hello, not what's the payment, just straight to the mission. Told him everything. About the mining colony. About the 17 hostages and the raiders who were holding them. About the coalition's refusal to help. Listened without interrupting. He didn't take notes. He just listened, his tired eyes focused on her face. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. The colony has 3 habitat modules and 1 processing center, he finally said. The raiders will have the hostages in the habitats, probably Module 2. It has the best defensive position. They'll have guards at every entrance. Maybe 8 to 10 raiders total, professional crew. Blinked, how do you know all that? Standard tactics, they're predictable. He looked at her directly. I can get your cousin out, but I need something from you. The payment, yes, I have. Not money, a favor. After this is done, I need help finding someone lost in coalition records. You have access to those systems. Hesitated. Accessing restricted records was against regulations. She could lose her position, maybe face charges. Then she thought about the coalition's message, about rules and regulations while people died. Yes, she said, I'll help you. Studied her for another moment, then he nodded. Get your things, we leave in 10 minutes. As turned to get her bag, she heard voices behind her. 2 large beings, both warriors, were watching from across the bay. One of them was pointing at, speaking in low, urgent tones to his companion. That's him, there was saying. I know it. I fought at Crimson Nebula. I saw what he did. We should leave now. They hurried away, glancing back over their shoulders. Looked at, he hadn't reacted, hadn't even seemed to notice. He was checking his ship systems, calm and focused. This was who she had hired. This was who would save. She picked up her bag and followed him into the ship. The stories, she realized, might actually be true. The inside of ship was nothing like coalition vessels. Everything was efficient, compact, no wasted space. The walls were lined with secured equipment. Weapons, tools, medical supplies, everything had a place and purpose. Strapped into the co-pilot seat, moved through the pre-flight checks with practiced ease. His hands moved across the controls without hesitation, like the ship was an extension of himself. "You know how to use a gun?" he asked without looking at her. I had basic training 5 years ago." "Can you shoot straight?" "I qualified barely." He nodded. "That's fine, you won't need to fight, but you should know how just in case." The ship lifted off, felt the gentle push of acceleration as they cleared the station. Through the viewport, she watched the massive structure shrink behind them. Somewhere in there, her supervisor was probably wondering where she went. Her colleagues were covering her station. Her whole life was in that station. And she was leaving it behind to fly into danger with a stranger. "How long to reach the colony?" she asked. 18 hours. This ship is faster than it looks." Silence fell between them. Didn't know what to say. How did you talk to someone like this? Someone whose name made warriors flee. Broke the silence first. "Tell me about your cousin." "She's a geologist, specialist in mineral surveying. She's been at the colony for 8 months. She loves rocks, always has. Even when we were kids on Earth, she collected them." A small smile crossed face, brief, almost invisible. "My sister was like that, collected shells from the beach." "You have a sister?" "Had long time ago." He adjusted a control. "Tell me more about the colony, layout, population, resources." Pulled up the information on her personal tablet. She showed him the colony schematics, studied them carefully. 17 hostages total, he asked. "Yes, mostly miners and support staff. Sent the names in her first message." "Good, that helps." He zoomed in on one section. "This module here, number 2, that's where they'll be. It has reinforced walls, emergency supplies, only 3 entrance points, easy to defend." "How do we get them out?" "We don't, not directly." He traced a path on the screen. "We create a problem the raiders have to deal with. While they're distracted, the hostages secure themselves. Then we extract everyone at once." "What kind of problem?" He looked at her, me. Before could ask more, an alert chimed. "Incoming communication request." The ID was flagged as mercenary network. Accepted it, a face appeared on screen. Reptilian features, sharp teeth. The being said, his voice carried an edge of something, fear, respect, both. "I heard you were at Station 7, took a job." "That's right." I needed to speak with you." Looked uncomfortable. "About Crimson Nebula, about what happened there." His expression didn't change. "You survived, that's what matters." "We were attacking civilians. My unit was. I didn't know until it was too late. You stopped us. You gave us a choice." "I remember." 40 of us went in. Only 3 came out. I've lived with that for years, knowing what we were doing, knowing you were right to stop us. You made the right choice. You retreated. You lived. That took courage." The eyes glistened. "I wanted to thank you and to warn you, on that colony. They're professional, not like my old unit. They won't retreat." "I know." "Be careful, please." Paused. "The galaxy needs people like you, even if we're afraid of you." The communication ended. Stared at the blank screen. Then that's what happened. At Crimson Nebula, you fought 40 soldiers alone. It wasn't a fight, it was a door, a hallway, a very narrow space. He checked their course. They had to come at me in small groups. That made it manageable. Manageable? You held them off for hours. 6 hours, until the evacuation was complete. How is that even possible?" Was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was soft. "You do what needs doing, that's all. The civilians needed time. I had a door I could defend, so I defended it. But 40 soldiers. 37, 3 chose to leave, was one of them. He glanced at her. I gave everyone the same choice. Retreat or continue. Most continued. That was their decision, not mine. Try to process this. The stories made it sound like was some kind of unstoppable warrior, a killing machine. But hearing him talk about it, he made it sound simple, necessary, like he had just done a job that needed doing. Why do you do this? She asked. The mercenary work. I'm looking for someone. The person you want me to help find. He nodded. Who are they? Someone important, someone the coalition took from me. His hands tightened slightly on the controls. I've been searching for 5 years, following leads, taking jobs that bring me to the right places. Maybe this time I'll find a real clue. Is that why you took my job, the favor? Partly. Also because your cousin doesn't deserve to die while bureaucrats file reports. They flew in silence for a while, watched the stars stream past. She thought about words, about choices, about doing what needed doing. Can I ask you something? She said. Yes. Why does everyone fear you? You don't seem like a monster. Actually smiled at that, still small, still brief. I'm not a monster, I'm just a human who knows how to fight. That scares people. Because you're from a death world. Partly, but it's more than that. He adjusted their heading slightly. Most species in the galaxy evolved on safe worlds, worlds with gentle weather, calm environments. They developed intelligence and society without constant danger. That shaped how they think, how they fight. And humans. Humans evolved surrounded by danger. Every animal on Earth was a threat. The weather could kill you. The environment itself was hostile. We learned to be persistent, patient. We learned to hunt creatures stronger and faster than us by outlasting them. We learned to see patterns, to plan, to never give up. That doesn't sound so scary. It is when you're fighting against it. He looked at her. Most species fight in direct confrontation. They rely on strength or numbers or technology. Humans fight differently. We adapt. We find weaknesses. We keep coming back. You can't intimidate a human into giving up. You can't outlast us. That's what scares them. Thought about this. About Earth. About humanity's long history of survival against impossible odds. Is that why you can hold a door against 40 soldiers? Because you just don't give up. Something like that. He checked the navigation. Get some rest. We have 16 hours before arrival. You should sleep. What about you? I'll sleep later, in shifts. Wanted to argue, but exhaustion was pulling at her. The stress of the day, the fear for it all crashed down at once. She reclined her seat and closed her eyes. When she woke, 8 hours had passed, was exactly where he had been, still monitoring the controls, still watching the empty space ahead. Did you sleep? She asked. 4 hours while you were out. I didn't hear you move. I'm quiet when I need to be. Stretched, her back ached from the chair. How much longer? 8 hours. You should eat something. Rations are in the back compartment. She found the food supplies. Simple, efficient, like everything else on the ship. She brought some forward for both of them. They ate in silence, watched, really watched him. He moved with careful economy, no wasted motion. Every action had purpose. Even eating seemed like a task to complete rather than something to enjoy. Can I ask about the person you're looking for? She said. Was quiet for a long time, thought he wouldn't answer. Then he said, her name is, we served in the coalition together. 5 years ago we were sent on a diplomatic mission. It was supposed to be routine, but there was an ambush, syndicate forces. They took prisoners. And was captured. He nodded. I tried to mount a rescue. The coalition ordered me to stand down, said it would complicate negotiations. I went anyway. By the time I got there, the facility was destroyed. Everyone was listed as dead. But you don't think she is. I never found a body, never found proof. His voice was hollow. I've been searching ever since. Every contract I take, every place I go, I look for information, for clues, for any sign that she survived. That's why you left the coalition. They ordered me to abandon her, to let her die for politics. His jaw tightened. I couldn't do that, I won't do that, so now I search on my own. Understood then. The tiredness in his eyes, the careful control, the reputation, wasn't a monster. He was just a man who had lost someone and refused to stop looking. I'll help you, she said. After we save, I'll search every restricted file I can access. Thank you. The rest of the journey passed in comfortable silence. Felt strange. She had been terrified of meeting the legendary warrior, the name spoken in fear. But sitting here, flying through space with him, she saw something different. She saw someone determined, someone who kept going when others would quit, someone who helped people because it was right. Maybe that was what made him truly dangerous, not the violence, not the fighting, but the absolute unwillingness to give up, to accept defeat, to stop trying. The navigation alert chimed. They were approaching the colony. His entire demeanor changed. The careful calm shifted into focused intensity. He began running through systems checks, weapons status, shield integrity, stealth capabilities. Listen carefully, he said. When we arrive, stay with the ship unless I tell you otherwise. If something goes wrong, you run. You understand. You take this ship and you run. I can't. Yes, you can. The controls are simple. I've set it to accept your authorization. If I don't come back, you save yourself. What about? He looked at her, those tired eyes now sharp as steel. I'll get her out, I promise, but I need to know you'll survive if things go bad. That's the deal. Swallowed nodded. Good, he said. Now let's go save your cousin. The mining colony hung in space like a broken toy. 3 habitat modules connected to a central processing center. Dim lights flickered across the structures. Normal operations had stopped. The raiders were in control. Brought his ship in slowly, very slowly, using the asteroid field around the colony as cover. His hands moved across the stealth system controls. They won't see us on scanners, he said. Human military technology. The coalition still doesn't understand how it works. Watch the colony grow larger in the viewport. Somewhere in there was trapped, scared, maybe hurt. The thought made her stomach tight. What's the plan? She asked. First I scout. I need to see their positions, count their numbers, understand their routine. He brought the ship to rest behind a large asteroid. That takes time, maybe several hours. Hours, but rushing gets people killed, including the hostages. He stood up, checking his equipment. Patience wins fights, not speed. He wore simple dark clothing. No armor, no obvious weapons, just a small pack on his back and a knife on his belt. That was it. That's all you're taking? Asked. It's all I need. Armor is heavy, slows you down, makes noise. This is a stealth operation. But if they see you? They won't. He moved to the airlock. Remember, stay with the ship. If I'm not back in 12 hours, you leave. No arguments. 12 hours? Scout, plan, and execute. That's my timeline. He paused at the door. Your cousin will be fine, I promise. Then he was gone. Watched through the ship's external cameras. Moved through space using a small thruster pack. He moved slowly, carefully. Not in a straight line to the colony, but an indirect path that used the asteroids as cover. She lost sight of him after 2 minutes. The waiting was terrible. She tried to distract herself, checked the ship's systems, monitored the communications bands. The raiders were using encrypted channels, but she could detect the traffic. They were talking to someone off-site, probably their boss, demanding the ransom payment. 1 hour passed, then 2, then 3. His personal tablet blinked. A message from just coordinates and a simple note. In position, beginning surveillance. 4 more hours crawled by. Watched the colony on long-range sensors. Nothing seemed to be happening. The raiders were in control. The hostages were secured. Everything was static. Another message: 15 raiders, 5 on patrol, 10 at hostage location, all in Module 2 as expected, planning extraction route. 15, not 8 to 10 like he had estimated, almost double. Felt cold. 15 professional soldiers against 1 man. This was impossible. This was suicide. But's next message was calm. Numbers don't matter in confined spaces. Proceed as planned. 2 more hours passed. Then ready, beginning operation in 10 minutes. Stay alert. His hands shook. She pulled up the colony's external camera feeds. She had access through her coalition credentials. The raiders hadn't locked them down yet. Sloppy. She watched, waiting. 9 minutes passed. On screen, one of the patrol raiders in the outer corridor suddenly stopped. He touched his helmet, seemed to be listening to something. Then he started running toward the cargo bay. Then another raider, then another, all moving in the same direction. "What's happening?" whispered to herself. She switched camera views to the cargo bay. Was standing in the middle of the open space, just standing there, arms at his sides, no weapon visible. The raiders were converging on him from 3 directions. What was he doing? This wasn't stealth. This wasn't careful planning. He was just presenting himself as a target. The first raider reached him, weapon raised, shouting something. Moved. What happened next was almost too fast to follow. He wasn't where he had been standing. He was beside the raider. His hand struck once. The raider fell, had his weapon before the body hit the ground. 2 more raiders came through the door, threw something, a piece of equipment from the cargo bay. It struck one of them in the helmet, cracking the faceplate. The raider stumbled back, gasping. The atmosphere in the cargo bay was thin. A cracked helmet was a death sentence. The other raider fired. Plasma bolts tore through the space where had been standing, but he was already moving, using the cargo containers as cover. The raider followed, weapon tracking. Came out from behind a different container. He had a metal bar in his hands. He threw it like a spear. It struck the raider's weapon, knocking it aside. Then was there, moving in close, 3 quick strikes. The raider went down. More raiders poured into the cargo bay. 7, 8, 9, all converging on the human. But the cargo bay was full of equipment, containers, machinery, obstacles. They couldn't all attack at once. They had to come in small groups, through narrow passages between the equipment. Use this. He moved constantly, never staying in one place, using the environment as a weapon. A plasma welder became a flamethrower. A cargo crane became a barrier. A shipping container became a trap, sealed with raiders inside. Watched in amazement and horror. This wasn't a fight, it was something else. A dance. A hunt. Wasn't trying to win through strength. He was making the environment itself fight for him. The raiders tried to coordinate, tried to surround him. But in the confined space, their numbers worked against them. They blocked each other's lines of fire, got in each other's way, exploited every mistake, every hesitation. 10 minutes, that's how long it took. 10 minutes of brutal, efficient violence. 14 raiders were down, dead or unconscious, couldn't tell. The cargo bay was a disaster, but was still standing. He touched his ear, speaking into a communicator. His tablet chimed with a message. 14 down. 1 left inside with hostages. Moving to Module 2. Start your distraction in 60 seconds. Distraction? What distraction? Another message appeared. Instructions. Detailed. Clear. Was supposed to hack the colony's external communication array. Make it look like a coalition rescue team was approaching. The last raider would panic, would try to contact his backup, would be distracted. His hands flew across her controls. She knew communication systems. This was what she did. She crafted a false signal, made it look like 3 coalition ships were in approach vector, heavy military signatures, rescue team protocols. She broadcast it directly at the colony. Through the cameras, she saw the last raider in Module 2 suddenly react. He grabbed a communicator, started shouting, looking panicked. Appeared in the doorway. The raider spun, raised his weapon. Too late. Moved low under the weapon's line of fire. His hand struck the raider's arm. The weapon clattered away. Another strike. The raider stumbled, caught him in a hold, pressing a pressure point on his neck. The raider went limp. It was over. Watched carefully lower the unconscious raider to the floor. Then he turned to the secured door where the hostages were held. "It's safe," he called out. His voice was calm, gentle, like he hadn't just fought 15 armed soldiers alone. "You can come out now. The raiders are neutralized." The door slid open slowly. Hostages emerged, frightened, confused, counted them through the camera. 17, all present, all alive. One of them, a young woman with short dark hair, saw and ran forward. She grabbed his arm. "You came," she said, her voice cracked. "Sent you, my cousin." "Yes," said Yor. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. "You're safe now. All of you, stay here for a moment. I need to secure the area." He moved through Module 2 quickly, checking every room, every corner, making sure no raiders were hiding. It took him 15 minutes. Then he returned to the hostages. "Can everyone walk?" he asked. "Anyone injured?" One man had a broken arm. An older woman had been hit during the initial raid. Otherwise, everyone was mobile. "Good, we need to move to the docking bay. A ship is waiting." He looked at, "Your cousin is there. She's been very worried." The hostages followed through the colony corridors, watched on cameras. She also brought the ship around, carefully navigating to the main docking bay. By the time she set down, was already there with the group. Ran out of the ship, saw her and broke into a run. They collided in a hug, both crying, both holding on tight. "I thought you weren't coming," sobbed. "I thought the coalition abandoned us." "They did," said, "but I didn't. I found help." Looked at, he was standing apart, checking the injured hostages, making sure they could travel safely. "Is that him, the one you hired?" "Yes." "He's human," said. "I heard him coming over the communicators. The raiders were terrified. They kept saying his name. They said was here. They said they were all going to die. They were right to be afraid." Approached them. "We need to leave. Now, the raiders might have backup coming. My ship can't carry everyone, but I can get you to a safe station. 3 jumps, maybe 6 hours." "What about them?" Gestured to the unconscious raiders scattered through the colony. "Leave them. Coalition security can collect them later. Not our problem." The evacuation was quick, efficient. The hostages crowded into ship. It wasn't designed for this many people, but it would work for a short trip. Somehow found space for everyone. Helped settle people in. Wouldn't let go of her hand. Kept holding tight like she might disappear. Piloted them away from the colony. The asteroid field fell behind. Open space stretched ahead. One of the hostages, an older man, approached the cockpit. He said, "It wasn't a question." "Yes. I've heard the stories. They say you're dangerous, that you're someone to fear." Didn't look away from the controls. "Is that a question? Are you dangerous?" "To raiders who threaten innocent people, yes." He adjusted their course. "To anyone else, no." "Why do you do this, the mercenary work?" "I'm looking for someone." The man nodded slowly. He looked at all the rescued hostages crowded into the small ship. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for coming when no one else would." Was silent for a moment. Then he said, "Someone has to, that's all." The flight to the nearest safe station took 7 hours, longer than estimated because they had to take a careful route, avoid main shipping lanes. The ship was overloaded and couldn't risk inspection. When they finally docked, coalition security was waiting, had sent ahead a full report. The hostages were escorted to medical facilities. Statements were taken. Official paperwork began. Through it all remained in his ship. Quiet, separate, he had done his job, the rest wasn't his concern. Found him in the cargo hold. He was cleaning his equipment, methodical, careful. "They want to thank you," she said. "The hostages, they're asking for you." "No need. I did what I was hired to do." "You did more than that. You saved 17 lives." He looked at her. "And now you owe me a favor, time to pay it." Nodded. She had promised she would help him search. "Tell me about," she said. "Tell me everything you know. I'll start looking tonight." For the first time since she met him, smiled. A real smile, full of hope and pain. "Thank you," he said. 3 days after the rescue collapsed. They were still at the station. The coalition was processing statements from the hostages, was recovering in medical care, was helping coordinate everything, and had been standing in his ship's cargo hold cleaning equipment when his legs simply gave out. Found him on the floor, conscious but pale, sweating despite the cool air. "I'm fine," he said, but his voice was weak. "You're bleeding," said. She could see it now. Dark stains on his clothing. He had been bleeding the whole time, since the fight, 3 days ago. "Just some cuts, nothing serious." "Nothing serious. You can barely stand." She knelt beside him. "Let me see." He tried to wave her off, but he didn't have the strength, carefully lifted his shirt. Her breath caught 3 deep wounds. Plasma burns on his side and back, a knife wound on his ribs, all of them poorly bandaged, all of them infected. "You've been walking around like this for 3 days." "Had to make sure everyone was safe first. My injuries could wait." "You idiot, these need real medical care." She pulled out her communicator to call for help. "No," his hand caught her wrist, weak but insistent. "No coalition doctors, they'll ask questions, run tests. I can't risk that." "Risk what? You need help." "I heal differently than other species. Faster. If they study me too closely, they'll want to know why. They'll want samples, tests. I've seen it happen to other humans." Looked at the wounds again. They should have killed him, would have killed most species. But he was still alive, still moving. The stories about humans being durable weren't exaggerations. "Fine, no coalition doctors, but I'm treating these wounds myself, and you're going to lie still and let me." She gathered medical supplies from the ship's well-stocked kit, had everything she needed, good antiseptics, surgical thread, regeneration gel. He had clearly treated his own wounds before. As she worked, cleaning and stitching, gritted his teeth but didn't cry out. The pain must have been intense, but he stayed quiet, controlled. "Where did you learn this?" she asked, trying to distract him. "Military training, field medicine. When you work alone, you need to patch yourself up. This is more than field medicine. These wounds are serious." "I've had worse." She didn't doubt it. His body was covered in scars, old injuries. Some looked like burns, others like blade marks. This man had been hurt many times and kept going. It took her 2 hours to treat everything properly. When she finished, his breathing had steadied. Color was returning to his face. "You need to rest," she said. "Real rest, at least a week." "I've rested 3 days already." 3 days bleeding and infected, that doesn't count. She stood up. "I'm serious. You push yourself too hard." "I'm looking for someone. I can't stop." "We'll still be there after you heal. Dead men don't rescue anyone." That made him pause. He nodded slowly. "Maybe you're right." Over the next week took care of him. Brought food, changed bandages, made sure he actually rested. It felt strange. This legendary warrior, the man who fought 15 raiders alone, was now lying in a ship's bunk, recovering like anyone else would. They talked during those days. Long conversations, told her about his past, about growing up on Earth, about joining the coalition military, about meeting. "We were partners," he said. Assigned to the same unit, she was smart, strategic, could see patterns in chaos. I was better at direct action. We balanced each other. Were you together? Asked carefully. Yes, against regulations, but yes, we kept it quiet, didn't want to be separated. His voice grew distant. 5 years we served together, perfect record, never failed a mission. Then they sent us to negotiate with a frontier colony, routine diplomacy. What went wrong? Everything. The syndicate had informants in the coalition. They knew we were coming, ambushed our ship, killed most of our escort, and I were captured. He was quiet for a long moment, waited. They separated us immediately, put me in one cell block, her in another. I could hear her voice sometimes through the walls. She kept saying my name, telling me to hold on. How did you escape? I didn't, not at first. I tried, got out of my cell, started fighting through the facility. But there were too many guards, they pushed me back, locked down everything. I thought we would both die there. But you're here, you survived. Coalition forces staged a raid. 3 days after capture, pure luck. The syndicate facility was in their target area for another operation. They broke through the defenses, found me, extracted me before the building collapsed. And they said she was in the other wing, the wing that collapsed. They said no one survived, listed her as killed in action. His hands clenched. But I never saw a body, never got confirmation, and the coalition refused to let me search, said it was too dangerous, told me to accept it and move on. So you left. So I left, started searching on my own. Every contract I take, I look for information about that facility, about syndicate prisoner transfers, about anything that might lead to her. Understood now. The tiredness in his eyes, the relentless determination. He had been searching for 5 years, never stopping, never giving up. I'll help you, she said. I promised I would. Let me access the records tonight. That evening, after making sure was resting, returned to the station. She went to a secure terminal in the communications center, used her clearance to access coalition databases. She started with the obvious searches. Human female, coalition officer, captured 5 years ago. The file came up immediately, listed as killed in action. Case closed, but kept digging. She found the mission reports, the raid details, the casualty lists. Everything looked normal, standard procedure, nothing unusual. But had worked with coalition systems for 5 years. She knew how to spot inconsistencies, and there were inconsistencies here. The prisoner manifest didn't match the casualty list. 3 prisoners were listed as captured at the facility, but only 2 bodies were recovered. 1 body was missing. The reports glossed over this, called it likely destroyed in the facility collapse. Likely not confirmed. Dug deeper, found the classified annexes, the parts of reports that regular officers couldn't see. She was pushing her clearance to its limits. If anyone noticed, she could face serious consequences. But she kept going. In the classified section, she found something. A transfer order, dated 2 days after the raid. 3 prisoners transferred to a medical research facility for evaluation and treatment of death world exposure effects. 3 prisoners, but the official report said everyone died. His heart raced. She traced the transfer order, found the receiving facility. It was listed as Medical Research Station 7, a coalition black site run by an admiral named. She pulled up information on. His record was mostly classified, but what little she could see made her stomach turn. He specialized in research, studying how different species adapted to extreme conditions. Studying humans. Everything she could find, encrypted it, stored it on a secure drive. Then she carefully erased her search history, made it look like she had only been doing routine administrative work. She returned to ship. He was awake, sitting up, looking stronger already. Human healing was remarkable. I found something, she said. He was on his feet immediately. What? Wasn't killed in the facility collapse. She was transferred along with two other prisoners. Pulled up the data on her tablet to a black site for research. His face went pale, then red. Rage flashed across his features, pure, intense fury, but he controlled it, forced it down. A black site, he said quietly. They were experimenting on her. Yes, I'm sorry. Don't be sorry, this is good. This means she might still be alive. He grabbed the tablet, reading through the information. Medical Research Station 7, operated by Admiral, current status, officially decommissioned 3 years ago. Officially. Black sites don't just close, they relocate. He looked at her. Can you find where it relocated to? I can try, but this level of information, I'm already pushing my clearance. If I dig deeper, they'll notice. Then don't dig deeper, not yet. He saved the information to his own systems. This is enough. I can work with this. I'll find people who know about black sites, about where prisoners get transferred. This could take time. I've been searching for 5 years. I can wait a little longer. Now I know she's alive. That's everything. But could see the urgency in his eyes, the desperate need to act, to find now, to rescue her. There might be a faster way, she said slowly. What way? I can access more files, deeper files, but I'll need to physically go to Coalition headquarters, use a higher-level terminal, pretend I'm doing research for a superior officer. That's dangerous. Not as dangerous as what you did at the mining colony, and has been imprisoned for 5 years. Every day we wait is another day she suffers. Studied her? Why are you doing this? You paid your debt, the rescue is done. You don't owe me anything more. Thought about this. About the 17 hostages, about the Coalition's refusal to help, about their lies and secret experiments. Because it's right, she said. Because the Coalition took someone from you just like the Raiders took from me. Because you came when I needed help. Now it's my turn. A slow smile crossed his face. You're braver than you think. Or I haven't decided yet. Bravery and stupidity often look the same. The difference is the outcome. He stood up, testing his healing wounds. How long before you can get to headquarters? 2 days. I need to file the right requests, make it look official. Good. I'll use that time to contact some people, gather intelligence on black site operations. When you get that information, I want to be ready to move immediately. We said, what? When we get that information, I'm coming with you. Absolutely not. This will be dangerous. Military operations. I can't protect you and assault a facility. You won't need to protect me. I can handle myself. And you'll need someone who understands Coalition systems, someone who can access their security, someone they won't immediately shoot at. Started to argue, then stopped. He saw the determination in her face, the same determination he carried. You're sure about this? He asked. No, I'm terrified, but I'm doing it anyway. He laughed, actually laughed. You really are human after all. What does that mean? It means you're scared but doing the right thing anyway. That's what humans do. We're afraid and we do it regardless. Over the next 2 days they prepared, contacted his network of mercenaries and informants, arranged her trip to Coalition headquarters, now recovered, tried to talk her out of it. You're going to throw away your career, said. Maybe go to prison for someone you don't even know. I know, and I know the Coalition has been lying about a lot of things. So report it through proper channels. The proper channels are run by people like Admiral. This has to be done differently. Hugged her tight. Be careful, please, you just saved me. I don't want to lose you. You won't, I promise. 2 days later stood at Coalition headquarters, the massive station that served as the galactic government center. She walked through security, used her credentials, everything checked out. She accessed a high-level terminal, began her search, and found exactly what they were looking for. The file was buried deep, hidden behind layers of security and misdirection, but found it. Medical Research Station 7 hadn't been decommissioned. It had been relocated to an asteroid facility in the system, still operational, still running experiments. And according to the prisoner manifest, was still there. Everything, every detail about the facility's location, defenses, personnel. She encrypted it and sent it through a secure channel. Then she erased her tracks and left headquarters as calmly as she had entered. No alarms, no alerts, no one suspected. She met back at his ship. He was studying the information on multiple screens. His face was intense, focused. "She's alive," he said without looking up. "After 5 years, she's alive." "The facility is heavily guarded," said. 20 security personnel, military-grade weapons, automated defenses. This isn't like the mining colony. "I know," he pulled up tactical displays, "but I'm not going alone this time." Over the next 3 days, people arrived at the station, one by one, responding to calls. The first was the warrior who had survived Crimson Nebula. He arrived with simple words: "I owe you my life. Let me help pay that debt." Then came Binna, a pilot with silver skin and large dark eyes. "You pulled me from a burning ship once," she told. "Now I fly for you." A named appeared next, small, furred, with clever hands and clever mind. "My family was taken by black sites. They never came back. I want justice." Others came. A demolition expert called, a medic named, a human mercenary named who had served with years ago. Not an army, just 8 people total counting, but each of them skilled, each of them determined, each of them with a reason to fight. They gathered in a rented warehouse on the station's lower levels, laid out the plan on a holographic display. "The facility is built into an asteroid," he explained. "One main entrance, heavy shielding. The security will see us coming from far away." "So this is suicide," said cheerfully. "Good, I was getting bored with living." "It's not suicide, it's calculated," zoomed in on the asteroid. "The facility has a mining operation attached, legitimate business as cover. Ships come and go regularly. We pose as a mining supply vessel, get close. Then we breach." "They'll scan us," Binna said, "see through the deception." "Not if modifies our signatures, makes us look exactly like the regular supply ship." He looked at the whiskers twitched, a smile. "I can do that, easy. Give me 6 hours with your ship systems." "Once we're inside, we split into 3 teams," continued. "Team 1, and you hit the security center, take down their communications and defenses. Team 2, Binna, and you secure our exit route. Keep the hangar bay clear. Team 3 and me. We go to the detention level, find any other prisoners, extract everyone." "What about Admiral?" asked. "If we see him, we take him alive. He needs to answer for his crimes, publicly." His voice was hard. "But the priority is the prisoners. We get them out first. Everything else is secondary." They spent the next day preparing, modified the ship's signatures, prepared breaching charges, stocked medical supplies. Everyone checked weapons and equipment. Felt out of place. She wasn't a soldier, wasn't a warrior. She was just a communications officer who knew how to access computers, but made sure she had proper equipment. A simple weapon, light armor, basic combat training. "You don't need to fight," he told her. "Your job is the systems, getting through their security, opening locked doors. That's just as important as shooting." "I'm scared," she admitted. "Good, fear keeps you alert, keeps you alive." He checked her armor fittings. "But don't let it control you. When the time comes, you'll know what to do." The next morning they departed. Binna piloted the ship. She was skilled. The approach looked completely natural, just another supply vessel heading to the mining operation. The facility hailed them, requested identification codes. Had prepared for this. False codes, perfect replicas of the real supply ship. The facility's security bought it completely. Supply vessel confirmed. Proceed to docking bay 3. They docked without incident. The facility's interior was clean, sterile, like a medical center, not like the prison it really was. Security personnel were waiting at the bay, just 2 of them, standard procedure for supply ships. Walked down the ramp first, calm, professional, playing the part of a supply captain. Delivery manifest, one guard asked. Right here, handed over. The guard studied it, frowned. This doesn't match our orders. Doesn't it? Moved, fast, precise. The guard was unconscious before he could call for help, took down the other one just as quickly. Go, said. The team split up, moving fast, and headed for the security center. Binna and secured the hangar and went deeper into the facility. Accessed a wall terminal, pulled up the facility's layout, found the detention level, 3 floors down, Section D. They moved through corridors, encountered 2 more guards and handled them quickly, quietly, no alarms yet. The facility's intercom crackled. Voice, security center secured. I'm locking down their communications. They can't call for help. Good, responded. Status on defenses. Automated weapons are offline. Manual systems only now. They reached the detention level. Heavy security door, biometric lock. Can you bypass it? Asked. She studied the system. Yes, give me 2 minutes. Her hands flew across the access panel. She had practiced this. New coalition security systems inside and out. The lock clicked open. The detention level was darker than the rest of the facility. Rows of cells, each one sealed, each one holding someone. Spread out, said. Find, check every cell. Moved down the corridor, looked through the observation windows. Most cells were empty, but some held prisoners, humans, other species, all looking thin, tired, broken. Here, called out, and ran to him. He was pointing at a cell. Inside, a human woman sat on a narrow bed, dark hair, pale skin, scars on her arms. She looked up at the window. Her eyes were empty, dead. Then she saw. Recognition flashed across her face. Confusion, disbelief, hope. Said, his voice cracked, "It's me, I found you." She stood slowly, walked to the window, pressed her hand against it. Tears streamed down her face. "You came," she whispered. I thought you were dead. They told me you were dead." Open the cell, told. His own eyes were wet. Access the control panel. The door slid open, stepped inside, collapsed into his arms. 5 years of pain and isolation breaking free in sobs. He held her, just held her. The legendary warrior, the man who made the galaxy afraid, kneeling in a cell holding the person he never stopped searching for. "I'm sorry," he said. "I'm so sorry it took this long." "You came," she repeated. "That's all that matters, you came." Alarms blared. "We've got company," his voice over the communicator. "Security override. Someone's calling in reinforcements from outside the facility. We need to move. Now." "Copy that," said. He helped stand. She was weak, malnourished, but she could walk. "Can you run?" "For you, I'll fly." "We're not leaving the others," said. She was already opening other cells, releasing prisoners, 8 others, all in bad condition but alive. "Everyone who can move, follow us," commanded. "Stay close, stay quiet." They moved back through the facility. A group of 11 now, slow, careful. Some prisoners needed support to walk. Security forces were mobilizing. Could see them on her tactical display, converging on their position. "Take the maintenance corridor," she directed. "It bypasses the main security checkpoint." They followed her directions. The corridor was narrow, dark, but empty. They reached the hangar level without encountering resistance. But the hangar was under attack. Security forces were trying to retake it. Binna and were pinned down behind cargo containers, returning fire. "We need support at the hangar," called. "On our way." Explosions rocked the facility. "It's work. creating chaos in the security center, drawing forces away from the hangar, and appeared from a side corridor. They opened fire on the security forces from behind, caught them in a crossfire. The fight was brief but intense. The security forces were well trained, but they were divided, caught between two groups. Within minutes they were retreating. Everyone on the ship ordered. The prisoners stumbled up the ramp, helped them, made sure everyone was aboard, counted heads. All 11 prisoners, all 8 of their team, everyone was here. "Binna, get us out of here," shouted. The ship lifted off. Security forces fired from the hangar entrance. Plasma bolts struck the shields. Binna flew with wild skill, dodging fire, accelerating hard. They burst out of the asteroid facility into open space. Behind them, automated defense platforms activated, tracking them, firing. "Hold on," Binna called out. The ship twisted, rolled, dove. Binna flew like she was dancing. The defense fire missed, barely. They cleared the defense perimeter. "Jump coordinates locked," said from the navigation station. "Ready when you are." "Do it," said. The ship jumped, space twisted, stars streaked. They were away. In the cargo hold, silence fell. Everyone was processing what had just happened. They had done it, broken into a black site facility, rescued 11 prisoners, escaped. Sat with, they hadn't let go of each other, watched them, saw the relief, the joy, the pain of 5 years lost. "What now?" asked. "Now we expose this," said. She held up a data drive. "I recorded everything, the facility, the prisoners, all of it. I'm sending this to every news network in the coalition, to every government representative. Everyone will know what did." "He'll deny it," said. "He can try, but we have 11 witnesses. We have evidence. We have the truth looked at. And we have the most famous human in the galaxy backing us up. When speaks, people listen." Over the next week, the story broke. Evidence went viral across the coalition networks. News of the black site, the illegal experiments, the prisoners held for years without trial. Public outrage was immediate. Governments demanded investigations. Military officers called for accountability. Admiral was arrested. His entire operation shut down. Dozens of other black sites were discovered and closed. Prisoners were freed. Justice, slowly, was being served. Resigned from the coalition. She couldn't serve an organization that had done this, that had allowed this. But she found new purpose, working as an independent investigator, exposing corruption, finding truth. She was good at it, better than she had been at following orders. And disappeared for several months, went somewhere quiet, somewhere they could heal. Both of them carried scars from the past 5 years, but they were together. That was what mattered. When they returned, they were different, stronger, had regained weight. Her eyes had life in them again, looked less tired, less burdened. They found at a small station on the frontier. She was investigating labor violations at a corporate mining operation. "Need any help?" asked. Smiled, "Always, but I can't pay much." "Don't need payment. This is what we do now, help people who can't help themselves." "Both of you?" Nodded. "Someone has to, might as well be us." They worked together after that, a strange team. 2 humans and a Korean communications officer turned investigator. Later, others joined them. Binna, a small group dedicated to finding truth and helping those in need. The galaxy still spoke's name, still felt fear when they heard it, but now they understood. The fear wasn't because he was a monster. It was because he represented something terrifying to corrupt systems and evil people. He represented someone who would never stop, who would tear down any obstacle, who would fight any enemy, not for glory or profit, but because it was right. Because someone had to. And that, realized, was what made humans truly dangerous. Not their strength, not their durability, not even their skill in combat. It was their absolute, unshakable determination to protect the people they cared about, to fight for what was right, To never give up, even when the entire galaxy told them it was impossible. 6 months after the rescue, received a distress call. A small colony, raiders attacking, coalition refusing to respond due to political complications. She looked at the message, thought about ignoring it. She had done enough, risked enough. Then she thought about all the people who needed help and had no one to call. She sent the coordinates too. His response came within minutes. Simple, direct, just like the first time. Coordinates received, coming. Smiled, she grabbed her equipment, checked her ship systems, prepared for another impossible mission. Because someone had to. And she had learned from the best. Across the galaxy, in dark stations and quiet colonies, people heard the stories. They spoke's name. They spoke's name. They spoke's name. Sometimes in fear, sometimes in hope. But always with understanding. These were the humans, the ones from the death world, the ones who didn't give up, the ones who came when no one else would. And that made all the difference.